So landers are just pages, much like offers. The only difference being they can't convert. So use landers when it's a page people are going to visit, but they're just going to click through. They're not going to convert or create revenue on that page. That's not to say that in your reporting, you won't be able to see conversions and revenue. As you can see, these are columns here. Visitors who go through these landers and later create revenue on offers, they will still get the revenue attributed to the landers that they came through, because that revenue is basically belonging to the visitor. The key difference is if they're not converting on that page, or they're not taking the actions on that page that will create the conversion, then it should be a lander. The one kind of key exception is with affiliate networks, where there's a page you send them to, and that's the final page where you have control, basically the terminus. Once they go there, you don't have any control on where they go next, even if it's 1 page or 20 pages. That should still be an offer, because that is the final page that's eventually going to give you some conversion, right? Okay, so when you create a new lander, it's very similar to offer config. You have some lander name. You can pick a category. We don't have lander sources here like with offer sources, so there's no current templating for appending extra data, but we still do have this situation of a base lander URL plus the extra data making the resulting lander URL. So the main time you would use this is if you're passing dynamic data to your lander. So for example, lander.com/lander, and then here you might decide you want to pass country code, for example, to the lander, and maybe you also pass, what could we pass here? Maybe operating system, so OS. So let's say you pass those. You can of course deal with it in this append extra data section here, but in many cases people don't pass dynamic data to their landers. It's really up to you. And keep in mind that if you use our JavaScript tracking, you can directly pull this data from the JavaScript API on the page and not have to show it in the URL in the first place. Anyway, redirect types, quite simple. 301 and 307 are the fastest and most direct. Only use simple and ultimate meta refresh if you need to hide referrer data. Now, keep in mind that in 99% of cases, you are going to control and own the lander, so there's absolutely no point in using something like simple or ultimate meta refresh on a page that you own. You would basically be trying to hide referrer from yourself, and that's pointless because you already know what it is, and all you're going to do is potentially break tracking or increase sort of click loss or the amount of visitors who have problems with tracking by doing this. So generally only use 301 or 307. Next we have page action links. Much like with offers, these are just the universal links you use to connect page to page in your funnel. You can find these in the funnel builder as well. And lastly, we have JavaScript tracking. Here you have the head include, which you'll include globally in all your pages. And here you have the specific view tracking code for this page. When this is a real land that has already been saved, it'll have this page ID value here. So be careful not to copy this JavaScript before you have actually saved the page, because it doesn't yet have an ID. It doesn't exist because you haven't saved it. And note that there's no conversion tracking because landers can't convert. If you do fire conversion tracking code on a lander, you will usually have got that code from an offer page, and so it's going to try and convert the previous visit to that offer. If that person has never visited that offer, then it's of course not going to convert. And if you have no page ID in that JavaScript, then we would try and convert the most recent offer that they visited. So just be aware that you can fire conversion codes on your lander, but you can't make that lander itself convert. You're going to convert something else. Okay, that's it for landers. They're pretty simple. Once you've created them, you can then use them in the funnel builder. Also note that you can create these from the funnel builder as well, so you don't need to keep going back and forth to this section in order to create things. So for example, if I open this example funnel here, if I go to draw and I go to landers, I can click create and I can directly create it here, and it will then be available in the node palette. This goes for offers as well as Lander groups and conditions. So you don't need to leave the funnel builder to create these assets and throw them in. Likewise, you can hover over this create button here and create items directly here. So while I'm explaining these on the separate pages, keep in mind we want to make it very simple to create these with minimal travel between parts of the user interface. Anyway, that's it for Landers. I'll see you in the next video.